So in mid 1990, Herc's put together with Paul Roma, originally as a babyface tag team, picking up a couple of wins on TV. And then in the summer, after Roma loses a match to Dino Bravo on TV, Bravo attacks him with Jimmy Hart's megaphone afterwards. The Rockers come out for their match, but Roma's being attended to by some of the referees. So when Sean and Marty go over to help, Roma takes exception and he pushes Sean down. So Herc then comes out to back up Roma and they wind up attacking the Rockers, but eventually Sean and Marty are able to clear them from the ring. But now it's pretty established. We got some heels guys, some heels together here. And the next week on TV, they're given the name Power and Glory, and Slick is their manager. Let's take a listen to their formation here. This is fun stuff, man. I love Power and Glory. One of my guilty pleasures.
Hey, wait a minute. A little animosity maybe between Roma and the Rockers. I don't know. Look at this. What is going on?
Maybe Roma figures it was the Rockers that submarine him.
No, not hardly.
How do you know? He's been knocked out.
I don't know if he was knocked out or not. Whoa! What is this? What's going down here, Jesse?
I don't know, but the mighty Hercules coming into Roma's defense here.
Hercules is hot. So is Roma. We're supposed to have a match here with the Rockers.
Well, first of all, I think the Rockers are at fault here. What business is of theirs of what happened to Paul Roma? They're coming to... Whoa!
No!
Hercules!
Oh, no! There's no confidence at all! The Rockers! They're back up!
Dude, you still hear me?
On the outside! Here come the officials! Herc and Roma want to get back in the ring! This is an unscheduled match!
You know, Roma, we're the best and the baddest tag team in the WWF, but we were missing one little thing.
Oh, yeah, but not anymore. Come on in, Slickster.
Yeah. Listen, it's my pleasure to be associated with these two fine athletes. And believe me, the combination of the Slickster and these two gentlemen is a winning situation. And henceforth, they shall be referred to as Power and Glory.
Man, how great is Slick?
Brother.
I just love Slick, man. And in this case, this is really well done. I mean, a lot of times we've seen a couple of guys get thrown together and it doesn't feel like a real tag team, but every now and again it works out. For instance, when there was the Road Dogg Jesse James, who's the real Double J, if you will. And then there's Rockabilly Billy Gunn. Well, let's put them together, make them the New Age Outlaws. For some reason, I don't know why, it just worked. And it does here again, at least to me. Power and Glory. Obviously, they're not going to have nearly the career that the New Age Outlaws do, but I love the presentation. I love them as a tag team. And I remember them very fondly. What'd you think of Power and Glory?
I thought it was the best utilization of Herc and Roma. So it gave them some new life. They were friends. They were workout partners in real life. So, you know, they had chemistry with each other because they liked one another. So that always helps as well. And at least give it a shot. And I think it did more for them than continuing on as singles.
Do you remember behind the scenes how this idea came to be? If anybody in particular advocated for it or how the name came about or why Slick or any details?
I think it was more than anything, Herc and Roma coming up with the idea to be partners and not really having anything else for them at the time that it made sense. Okay, well, let's give it a try. It's not going to hurt.
So at SummerSlam 90 in Philadelphia, it's supposed to be Power and Glory versus the Rockers to open the show, but Sean has a legit knee injury. So it becomes essentially a handicap match as Sean is taken out immediately. And Herc and Roma win with their new cool looking finisher, the Powerplex, which I absolutely love. Hercules is going to hit a superplex and Roma immediately follows in with a top rope splash. And I know FTR really loved that combination, but man, the first time I saw this back in the day, I was like, well, that's the coolest tag team finisher in 1990. Besides the Doomsday Device, this is probably the coolest finish, right?
I thought it worked for them big time. Absolutely. And it was different as well. So the fact that, you take two faces that have been around for a while, put them together, and you give them a new coat of paint or a new painted coat, and you're good to go.
Do you know if they came up with this, or if one of were you involved in any of that stuff?
It was those guys coming with the idea to be together.
Good for them, man. One of the best I've ever seen. Once Shawn is healthy, the Rockers and Power and Glory matches get going on the road. And after a few months, I'm curious, what are the internal thoughts on this team? I mean, did you guys see money in this? I mean, collectively, they had to be worth more than individually at this point to the company, right?
I think they were a good tag team on the card. I don't think anybody, looked at them as, okay, this is the next big thing, but it was a great place, for them. And it was able to keep them around for a little while longer.
Survivor Series 1990, we're in Hartford. Power and Glory make it to the grand finale match of Survival, which is really a big deal. But Hogan's going to no-sell and kick out of their finisher. But we know the deal. Hogan must pose, right, Bruce?
Goddamn right.
So Power and Glory do eventually get some tag title shots versus the Hart Foundation on the road. And I'm curious, were they ever in the plans to face them at WrestleMania 7? Or when the Nasty Boys came in December of 90, were they thought of as the new hot shit? I'm just wondering if the Nasties hadn't have come in, would Power and Glory have been there, you think, for WrestleMania 7?
I don't think so, no.
You just didn't see them there at that point.
No.
I got you. So instead, they get squashed by the Legion of Doom at WrestleMania 7 in LA, and they spend most of the summer losing on the house shows, either to LOD or, unbelievably, the fucking Bushwhackers. Is it known by WrestleMania 7 that, hey man, wheels are coming off here, we're winding down?
Well, I just think that, it had run its course. I don't think that there was a whole lot more there. And it comes back to having that connection with the audience and being able to, on their own, carry it beyond what they were.
By the time you get there a year later, these international tours of Australia and the Middle East had stopped completely. With Europe for a few years being the only foreign destination outside of the US and Canada. Do you know the reason behind stopping touring in these countries for so long?
I think a lot of it had to do with kind of wrangling the television distribution. The syndication of the television show early on, in particularly early 80s, late 70s, was you would sell, a lot of times you would sell your tapes, or you would put together something and someone would distribute them. And then they would go and syndicate your programming. World Class Championship Wrestling was one of the first territories that was really able to reap the rewards of syndication internationally. And they were able to sell it and kind of control it. But there were so many people that internationally would tape your shows and then go sell them to a television station, and you would never know. So as the company grew and more people, more promoters from whether it be India, Australia, Saudi, Europe, they go, hey, yeah, man, we're watching your show. Really? We'd like to bring your tour over. Well, how are you watching our show? Oh, we see it over here on such and such a channel. And you look and find out that, well, somebody's been selling your show without authorization.
Damn it.
So it was the wild, wild west back in the day. And you pull all of that back and you get control of your syndication to where you're the one that is placing the television internationally, and you know what you have so that you can promote it properly and reap the rewards. But in the day, someone else was selling your show, and then they would want to come in and capitalize on your television and your stars by having a live event. Sometimes you'd get your money, sometimes you wouldn't. So it was just a lot different. It was a lot different way of doing business back in the day.
Well, yeah, because people were stealing, bootlegging, baby.
Yeah, like they would have, they would have you come in, you would do your show, and hey, I'm going to pay you afterwards. And then the promoter's gone. And you're in another land, and maybe your tickets home are good, maybe they aren't. But you're not going to be able to find this promoter with your money.
So through 1986, Herc is occasionally matched up on the house shows with even more competition. The likes of Tony Atlas, George Steele, Pedro Morales, the Killer Bees as singles, and even against the old SD Jones and Scott McGee's and such. Over 6 months in, he's still basically doing a whole lot of nothing. Is this the era where, you just didn't have to have super competitive matches on TV? So let's just save it, pal.
No, you didn't. You paid to see them. You paid to see those competitive matches. So you paid to see the top stars in live events. And that was the formula then. The television show was to spotlight your superstars and to get them exposure. But if you wanted to see them compete, against other top stars, that was what live events were for. Television product was completely different.